And I think we need to understand that our value does not come from what we do. It comes from who we are. And how do we know who we are? Well, I am who God says that I am. So, it comes back to that woman touching the hem of Jesus's garment and saying, if I can just touch you, what I need is in who you are. You don't even have to talk to me, Jesus. You don't have to do anything. I just need to touch you. And if who you are can be imparted to me and who I am, I will be made whole. My teenagers, all of us at varying levels of our lives, we go through a season where we are going to call into question, where we're trying to attach ourselves and our knowing, the Holy Spirit in us, whether we're agreeing with him or not. We're trying to attach to something that we actually believe in. There's a point at which children will stop believing what their parents say. Oh, you always say that. You know what I mean? Like, And so because what they're doing is they're saying, separate from you, what do I believe? Separate from what you told me or how you've lived, what do I actually believe? And so in that scenario, we kind of at different parts in our lives, I think, find that we are trying to attach from what everybody said, which means we're kind of floating for a little bit. I think all of us have a season of our lives where we can identify with feeling unknown because we no longer are connected with our parents, or maybe we're not connected with our spouse, or maybe those friends aren't our friends anymore. Maybe this community worked for a little while, but now somehow we don't fit. And we're constantly saying, okay, what can I attach myself to? And here's the problem. The enemy knows that, which is why he stirs up the noise. Yeah. You were talking, Havilah, about how everybody's got something to say. Well, the enemy knows that in the midst of a lot of voices, we can be confused. So he always wants to add his voice to the mix to give us more information than what we need, when the only voice that we need to attach ourselves to is the Lord. So he comes into the Garden of Eden and he says to Eve, let me give you something else to think about. Let me plant a seed of what you can mull on for a little bit, because maybe if I confuse you with another voice, I can detach you from the name that God has given you. And what we find, and when you fast forward to the New Testament and Jesus is here, anytime there was too much noise, too many crowds, too much going on, you can always find the story of Jesus peppered with, there were crowds and then he was alone. Yeah. There were crowds and then he was alone. He gets by himself. He goes to the mountain to pray. He backs up from the crowd into a boat, because what Jesus knew and what we have to always remember is that the only one skilled enough to give us a name when we feel unknown, or when the crowds are busy or the devil is busy peppering the air with noise to confuse us, the only way that we can go from being unknown to known, from being misunderstood to being understood, to having no name to having a name, is to connect with the one who is the only one who knows what the name is he's given us. And so I think what you have to say is, when you are feeling like you're not quite sure what your name is, when you're feeling unknown, because I think as women, I think that's through various seasons of life how we're going to find ourselves feeling like, I don't even know who I am right now. I mean, I literally at 12, it's a story that I've told a million times, where I literally said to my parents, I was crying, and my mom was like, what's wrong? And my dad is looking at me like, what's going on? And I just was like, I don't know who I am. Mm-hmm. And they both kind of froze for a second. My mom had her hand on her earring and she was taking it out, and she kind of looked at me like this. And my dad had his hand on his tie, like they froze in time for like 10 seconds. And then my mother says, what do you mean? Like, they were totally confused by my confusion. Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, you don't know who you are. Like, here's your name. But what I was saying in that moment is, you gave me a name, and in this season of my life, I don't feel connected to that name. And here's the other problem, is we allow our feelings to dictate whether our name is truth, whether or not the name God gave us is truth. And we are allowing the noise from the earth to pepper with facts that don't agree with that. So I just think it's okay to feel unknown. It's okay for other people not to know your name. What's not okay is for you to think that you're going to actually find your correct name anywhere else than what Jesus is calling you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that. I love the story of the woman with the issue of blood. She's unnamed. And Jesus turns around in the crowd and says, who touched me? And so this woman that has lived for 12 years and has been pushed aside to die, That was her identity. She had the issue of blood. She was a complete outcast in the world back then. So she was Jewish, she was bleeding, she was everything against her for 12 years. And Jesus says, daughter. And he gave her the name daughter. And I doubt that life for her just immediately got better. I doubt that, she had to undo 12 years of sickness and outcast and reintegrating with society and family. And, there was drama to her story, but she, with her faith, she said, if I can touch the hem of his garment. So here's an outcast. She was the lowest of the low. So no matter how you feel today, you might say, I am so undeserving. Yeah. I am such on the bottom. I am so beneath sea level. I have nothing going for me today. I have been labeled loser, everything you can possibly think of. If you could just think that maybe you could reach out with your faith. And I love to say this. If the Bible was being written today, is there somebody that could reach out and touch the hem of his garment like she did? Is there somebody that could reach out with their faith and just say, I need a new name. I need a new identity, and latch on to what God says about you, to latch on to, I am a daughter. If there's nothing else you can reach for, I am a daughter of the living God. And he's got better for me. He's got good plans for me. He's got goodness in my future. He's got healing for me. So many of us, I think, identify with they've lost their job. I'm not needed anymore. I've got this sickness. I've got cancer, I've got this, I've got that. And they identify with the things that are against them. And if you could just for a moment, it just takes that much of faith. And everybody's got it. Everybody has that little bit of faith that it takes. He said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can say, I am a child of God. And I believe you can see things turn around for your good. You can see things start speaking out of your mouth. I will be a witness. I am a witness of the goodness and the faithfulness of God. And see things change. I believe that her world was tipped upside down because she said, if I can touch him, I can be healed.
I think about Moses, and when he was talking to God, God in Exodus 3, and 4 is telling Moses, I want you to go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses has all these questions, here are my insecurities, here's what I'm wondering. Mm-hmm. But one of the questions he asked God was, who should I say sent me? And God's response was, I am. You tell them I am that I am sent. That it's not about what I can do. It's not about what I can achieve. Right. It's not about me telling you about my history or telling you about your future. It's about the fact that I am. And the power that I'm giving you to operate in is because I am. Before you ever do a thing, it's about this fact that I've imparted my power to you. You think about am, right, is a state of being verb. It's not a verb that's an action verb. You're not doing anything. It's about being. And I think that often what we're trying to do, as y'all have so eloquently said all throughout this episode of the show, is that we try to find our am in our do, and the thing is there is a power. Just like God as as an infinite being, as all-powerful, omnipotent God says, my power comes from who I am, not what I do. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to understand that our value does not come from what we do. It comes from who we are. And how do we know who we are? Well, I am who God says that I am. Right. So, it comes back to that woman touching the hem of Jesus's garment and saying, if I can just touch you, what I need is in who you are. You don't even have to talk to me, Jesus. You don't have to do anything. I just need to touch you. And if who you are can be imparted to me and who I am, I will be made whole.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe today and you'll never miss a new upload.
And don't forget to check out our Better Together shop. Thanks for being a part of our community.